Champions Cup quarterfinals, folks. Sale heading to Leinster. They got a bit of a hiding. That was predicted. But Toulon heading to Glasgow. They pick up a narrow away win to really put a cat among the pigeons in this competition. We'll go through some of the key events and stats of both games. I've watched them very much delayed because they were on in the middle of the night, my time here in NZ. And you guys can let us know your thoughts. First game, Glasgow-Toulon. Very much a ball-in-hand game. Not a lot of kicking. Despite some tough wind conditions, you thought maybe sides might be putting a bit more boot to ball, but no, it was largely ball-in-hand. Quite a lot of width. Drayon bagged a couple of tries. McDowell was outstanding. But Glasgow getting rolled at home, do I dare say they Scotlanded this result? Because I don't know when Glasgow will have a better potential run to a Champions Cup final than this year. Because they did so well in the pool stages, going unbeaten, beaten Toulouse at home. They were the second qualifier. So they would be at home potentially all the way through until the final, which is played neutral. They don't lose games at home, Glasgow. It's been like a year since they've lost at home, but they've lost this one to Toulon. Toulon have got your jersey on for the few French fans watching because you did so well. Your season in the top 14 has been a real mixed bag, but this is a great news story for you guys because you showed some real determination to come back a couple of times in particular. Immediate strikebacks after scoring. We'll start with this one. It's pretty cagey for the first few minutes, but McDowell breaks the deadlock with a try on 9 minutes. It's a line-out play, and it's one of many tries in this game, which I feel like is a punishment of an error from your opposition. Toulon lose their own line-out. Glasgow go on the other end with a line-up move of their own, and McDowell goes over, so 7 points to 0. Glasgow are in front. But the first of two times where Toulon immediately strike back. Drayon is the guy who finishes it. It's wide passing, it's nice, and it's perfect from Toulon to, as I said, show the determination to not go into their shell. And it'll be frustrating for Franco Smith because I know he's a big details guy to immediately concede, 9 minutes, 13 minutes. That's very little time. That's basically an immediate strike back. Missed conversions. Yamane was not striking them nicely, but 7 points to 5. Tupulotu went inches short, and Toulon ended up getting yellow carded on defence. Too many penalties conceded. Yellow card to Kupoku, and Glasgow did manage to punish with the man advantage. McDowell with the wide ball. It's a sweet pass to Smith out wide. It is try time, 12 points to 5. Glasgow are back in front, but the immediate strike back, and despite the fact they've got a man down, it doesn't matter. Nice carries from Toulon, as I said, using the width. They go right, they go left, and they finish it up the guts. Jean-Baptiste Gros, who's not exactly a big-time try scorer, he gets one for Toulon right in the middle, so converted 12 points apiece. We are all evened up. Immediate strike back from Toulon and with a man disadvantage. That one will burn Glasgow in particular. And then Drayon gets his second try of the match. Great hands out wide. He's got some sick gas, and it's another mistake which gets punished because moments earlier, Glasgow had a chance when Toulon were kicking for touch to keep the ball in play, which they did. But then they kicked the damn thing dead from that play. So they put themselves immediately back under pressure, Glasgow, and Toulon punished them. So we go with a 17-12 lead to Toulon at halftime, despite the fact that Glasgow's had 62% possession and slightly more territory. To be fair, Toulon held out Glasgow on a relentless attack towards the end of that first half for quite some time. Second half, though, Glasgow did get the score they were looking for. Again, they put Toulon under a lot of pressure. It's a penalty conceded, so it's the error, and it is punished. Doesn't help that Toulon got marched 10 for a bit of back chat. You've already conceded the penalty, and you put yourself under even more pressure against the side like Glasgow, who love to go for the corner. It's a classic maul try from Glasgow. Hiddleston goes over. So now we are 19 points to 17 with Glasgow in front, but that's their final scoring. I thought there was a turning point 10 minutes later because Glasgow were under a heap of pressure of their own. Toulon were firing lots of faces at them. Glasgow were the ones conceding the penalties. It was Glasgow getting yellow card warned. If you concede another penalty down here, you're going to get carded. But then Rory Darge steps up, wins a hell of a turnover. The crowd is fired up. It's maybe the biggest cheer of the day. They get the exit after all this pressure. Toulon have not been able to score. They've not been able to get that bounce back score. But the Brex try. The Brex try, after all that defending, it's a brutal one to concede. Brex is not the fastest guy. So to be conceding that try from first phase scrum play where Brex gets the line break and somehow has the gas. Like, Brex is getting old for a rugby player. He was never that quick when he was younger, but goodness me. Brex, he's got enough gas to go over. 22 points to 19. That's the final scoring. Glasgow they kept trying. They kept dropping the ball. You've got to give a lot of credit to the defensive shift from Toulon to hold them out. Glasgow really threw the kitchen sink at them. But, yeah, are able to hold out right until that last minute. So they missed some chances, Glasgow. But as I said, Toulon, you will love some of these stats. Turnovers 1, 9-5 in favour of Toulon. That's a big defensive shift. Clean breaks 5-4 in favour of Toulon. So doing a bit more with a bit less. Kicks from hand was only 12-14. So very low when you consider in the second game, one of the teams alone kicked 40 times. So very much a ball in hand game. Run meters was 455 to 395. So quite a running game. As I said, there were some errors, but there was also some magic. Crayon beat 6 defenders. Brex had 90 meters. Olivon had 21 tackles. So massive, massive performances from those fellas. Darge had 2 turnovers, 1 and 20 tackles on his own. But yeah, Glasgow, honestly, I don't know that you'll get a better run potentially through to a final than that one. So that's a brutal, brutal one to be losing. You know, you don't have me to tell you, but goodness me. You know I was kind of hoping for you, but as I said, Toulon, you did well. Your season's not going that well, but now you got something to cheer about as you head to a semi-final. Second game, Leinster against Sale, is maybe interesting more for the fact that you can look at it as a game of two halves, that the first half is just so very tight. There is just nothing in this game. Why have I only written that Sale got 1 penalty? Sale got more than 1 penalty. Sale got 2 penalties through the boot of George Ford. They were looking to boot the ball a lot of the time. They were looking to pepper the Leinster backfield. Hugo Keenan is not a guy you can do that. So even he dropped at least one. There was one where he was kind of clattered into as he was going for a high ball. Did he drop one other under a bit of pressure? Rico dropped a couple. Harry Byrne dropped one. But Keenan got the majority of them. Keenan is a very, very classy fullback. He probably doesn't get the praise that he deserves at fullback. I don't know why. He's like, eventually Leinster were basically moving the backfield that he was catching the vast majority of those high balls, and rightly so, because he is such a secure pair of hands. It honestly started in about the worst way possible for Leinster, because what's the one position you guys are lightest on your depth? Loose head prop. Usanov, who's only a very young man himself, he's a bit of a baby-faced assassin, he lasted 3 minutes before he got injured. So this guy Kerr had to come on, who they were saying was like working a day job not that long ago. He's suddenly in a Champions Cup quarterfinal having to play 70-plus minutes. Talk about a trial by fire. He did it right, man. I know the Leinster scrum got bullied around a wee bit, particularly in the first half, but geez, in the scheme of things, the young guy did all right. As I said, worst possible start. Although they did get the only try of the first half through Sheehan, who gets man of the match. It was probably him or Keenan for man of the match, to be fair, but Sheehan was rampaging with ball in hand. He got one from close range phases, and it just proves, like, if you concede penalties down your own end and Leinster are able to get into your 22, there's a good chance they're going to come out with points. Relentless pressure. You can't give them nothing. 7 points to 0 to Leinster. And as I said, Sale seemed pretty content every possession to just hoof high balls long. They got Rico a couple of times early, and they were hoping for knock-ons because they were dominant at scrum time. Why not exploit the advantages you got? Like, it's not easy on the eye, but if it's your team, if you're going to make the most of the resources you've got. If you've got a scrum which can win penalties, and you've got a guy like Roebuck who can chase high balls, George Ford who can hit the high balls and spiral bombs, you might as well use it. It's your best chance to stay in the game. They managed to get themselves a penalty to make it 7-3 after a couple of penalties conceded by Leinster. One at the scrum, one for not releasing. And Yeah, maybe key moment of that first half is Sale getting a yellow card for a deliberate knock-on, but maybe Leinster not being able to punish it was a bit of a letdown from a Leinster perspective to end the first half, because Sale was still in it to the point where they got a chance to slot a droppy before half-time, but it missed. But yeah, Leinster, you were still kind of waiting for them to really unleash on Sale, and it did come, but it just didn't come in the first half. Possession and territory are pretty even. Leinster with 53% possession and 54% territory at halftime. By no means mopping the floor with the Sale lads. But come the second half, it did feel like Leinster were going to get going. It was showing signs of Rico had himself a nice line break. Leinster went right not too long later. Harry Byrne combined with Ringrose, Baird, and then Keenan went over for his try, which made it 12 points to 3. Which was starting to look a bit hairy for Sale, and it got worse because they got a second yellow card. This time it was for McIntyre, the prop, who put in a high shot on James Ryan. So 15 v 13, although during that time Sale did manage to kick a penalty, which is about the best result Sale could get because they got not only points on the board, but also killed some of the double yellow card time. So perfect result for Sale, really. 12 points to 6 is still within touching distance for Sale, but from here on out, it's basically all Leinster. It's kind of 15 on 13, even though one of the Sale yellow cards is done because one of their guys is down injured. But Rico combines with Ringrose. They go right. There's quick play left. And Ryan Baird. How glorious is it to see that guy in open space? He gets a try, so it's 19-6. 56 minutes. Keenan wins a high ball from a nice Harry Byrne. Up and under, so they kind of outsailed Sale with their own tactics by sending Keenan to chase one. Left to Rico, 26 points to 6. I think that's probably the game is over moment, but they keep going. Tommy O'Brien chases a dink over the top from Byrne. Sale guys can't handle it. 33-6, starting to get embarrassing. They do get one back through Wills, do Sale, so they at least make it 33-13 as they shift to the left and stop putting boot to ball. So that's a bit more respectable, but Leinster were not done. Sheehan, a line break at the death. Osborne with the support carry. 40 points on the board for Leinster. There'd been a penalty before that as well. So yeah, 43 points to 13 is a proper hiding. Sheehan was rampaging. He has 123 metres and 4 line breaks. Plus 6 defenders beaten. The guy was a monster. Rico had 94 metres and 2 line breaks of his own. Scored a nice try. Tommy O'Brien was winning turnovers, which is great for a winger. He's got a great skill set. Keenan in the air was doing fantastic. Dugdale made 24 tackles for Sale. But yeah, long day at the office, particularly in that second half. Like second half possession and territory was 60 plus for Leinster. Leinster's line-out was largely very stable, whereas Sale's was having a lot of issues the entire game. Kicks from hand is 40 to 31. Remember, the first game was what? I say was 20 something all up? 26 all up? Yeah, 40 to 31. So a lot more boot to ball in this game. Attendance was 18,000, they said, which is a bit lower than last week's game against Edinburgh. I'm not sure if that's because Edinburgh fans travelled in more numbers, if Edinburgh is a more attractive opponent than Sale. Maybe the weather. I'm not sure. You'll have to tell me why the round of 16 match had better attendance than the quarterfinal. But anyway, Leinster are through to their semi. They will host Toulon. So who knows how that's going to go. Leinster are going to be very tough to beat at home. But Edinburgh's, exploited a few chinks in the Leinster armour in the quarterfinal. Sale kept it close at halftime with their kicking game. Toulon just broke Glasgow's home run record. So should be a fascinating one. But Leinster will be big favourites. You guys let us know your thoughts. Subscribe if you want some more Champions Cup chat. Apologies it's so late, but time zones are a thing. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.